With some recent leaks being discovered with Source 2 code and what looks to be a big CSGO update brewing soon, today let's address the rumors, what they could mean for the game. If anything, Valve could be hitting us with big bait like they usually do, but either way, as always, if you enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and of course, check out my sponsor, FreeCash. FreeCash is an easy to use site where you can earn money by completing simple tasks on your PC. By going to the Earn tab, there's short surveys you can fill out, mobile games you can play, and videos you can watch to earn coins, which you could turn into cash instantly. On average, it only takes around 18 minutes until users cash out for the first time, and there's an average of $18 earned a day. Their withdrawing methods are also incredibly diverse. There's gift cards, skins, crypto, PayPal, really anything you want, and a great way to make some money if you've got some spare time. So be sure to check out FreeCash with that link in the description and sign up for a free 100 coins. But for now, let's get right into the video. So first of all, what exactly has been leaked relating to Source 2? Well, according to Gabe Follower, a Russian CSGO YouTuber and someone who knows how to look into the coding or whatever you want to call it for Valve games, he noticed that there were some Source 2 related strings in the latest major Dota 2 update. As for the actual tone map stuff that this shows that the strings were related to, he states that they were deprecated in Source 2. I assume he just means that they were being used on the Source 2 engine instead of the Source 1 engine, and Valve was just testing around with it, which would make sense because Dota 2 is on the Source 2 engine, so I believe Valve has to update the CSGO strings through that, because CSGO is of course still on Source 1 engine, if that makes sense. But this isn't the only Source 2 news. More importantly, Valve has added a CSGO mention to the actual Source 2 Workshop Manager, and why this is so interesting is because the Workshop Manager, according to Gabe Follower, is a tool for publishing mods to the workshop and was previously only available for Dota 2, Steam Tours, and Half-Life Alyx. So adding CSGO is a pretty big change for only just having 3 things at first. And finally, last but not least, the CSGO Beta Depot just had 4 CSGO devs in it at one time a few days ago. Not something we see very often unless they're working on a new operation or something big. I mean, the last time we saw 4 devs in the game at once was February 4th, so nearly a year ago at this point. So I gotta imagine all of this stuff lining up at the same time period isn't just absolutely nothing. There's gotta be something they're either working on for themselves or for the players. So what could Source 2 mean for the game, if this means anything at all? Well, let me first direct you guys back to an article from July of 2020 where Tyler McVicker of Valve News Network said he received insider information that the Source 2 project had been completely discarded. Keep a note that this is once again July of 2020, simply because Valve don't know how to port community content to Source 2 in any convenient way. But he also says if they find some easy ways to implement solutions for this problem, that the project will be brought back to life. He also stated that Valve apparently had a working build of CSGO for more than 2 years, and the biggest problem isn't porting the game, but the community content. So once again, just seems like the biggest issue is trying to get all the community servers to line up with what Valve wants to do with the official game, which is going to be incredibly difficult. So overall, the possibilities are that Valve is number 1, using the Source 2 engine for themselves, just because I imagine they don't like switching between the Source 1 and Source 2 engines while updating games, which means nothing is going to change for the common player perspective like you and me, but it is going to help things with devs. Or number 2, Valve has actually managed to find a solution to get community servers working on Source 2 as well. Personally, I really honestly don't think that happened, but I guess it definitely is possible. But my hopes just aren't high at all for Source 2. I guess I've just been waiting for it for too long. But let's just say everything worked out perfectly. What would Source 2 in CSGO do for players? A guy named MST makes a really good point that I agree with, stating Source 2 will eventually happen, not for the players but for the devs. I'm sure they're tired of working with 2 dramatically different engines in the house and all the limitations of a 2-decade-old engine. As per what I just covered, with devs apparently already sort of using it but not being able to port it to the game because of the community servers, I think this makes sense. A dev team that's apparently already really small working with an engine that's really old is definitely not a recipe for success. So even if this port doesn't bring Source 2 to all players of CSGO, we could still hopefully benefit with more updates to the game and not have to wait years between operations or just a long extended time between updates, because CSGO devs are working on an engine that's older than I am, and hopefully, at least from their perspective, they're moving on to Source 2 so they could do updates easier. Honestly, I once again think they're already doing this, because we saw Operation Riptide released only 5 months after Broken Fang ended, which isn't too bad for Valve time, and unless they've really just randomly stepped their game up out of nowhere, you gotta imagine they either have a bigger team, number one, or number two, they're on a new engine and something is just working better to get these updates out quicker. But as for the 4 devs being in the game right now, the only thing I could assume is that they made a big update for the Source 2 port to CSGO, presumably just for themselves, and they're just testing it, but that's honestly just my guess, and your guess is as good as mine. The only other update that we know is happening for CSGO anytime soon is the Dreams and Nightmares case, and I highly doubt they need 4 devs in the beta depot at once to test that. Once again, last time we saw that many devs in the depot was in February, so it's not like it could be just absolutely nothing, just a small update. They gotta be working on something big. Can it pertain to Operation Riptide and potentially closing stuff out with the operation and stuff like that? Maybe, but having 4 devs in the game is not something common at all, which is why I expect it to actually be something big, and tied in with Source 2, we could have something big for the players as well. So overall, just some really interesting times for CS. No matter which way this turns out, whether it actually gets released to the public or is just something for the devs, I think it's good for the community, because hopefully either way it'll help with how fast we get updates, or I mean if Source 2 gets released to the players, we'll get much smoother gameplay, better FPS, and the game will look better, so definitely no complaints either way. But overall, I think that does wrap it up for today's video. So as always, if you guys did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.